Hello everybody. So this is going to be just a very basic neutral beginners tutorial, kind of get ready with me in a way. I just wanted to give you guys pretty much a basics, how to correct stuff, some cheap brands. There are a little bit of expensive brands in here, but some more cheap brands to use, something to start off with, and yeah. So if you guys want to see a very basic neutral tutorial, then keep on watching. I'm just going to be doing a basic makeup tutorial for beginners, people who don't know a lot about makeup, people who want to get started on makeup. And I want to add just a little disclaimer. I am not a professional. I am not a professional makeup artist. Everything that I've learned has been through trial and error, a lot of YouTube videos. So just wanted to put that out there. So let's get started. So first I wanted to start off with pretty much your cleansing products. So what I use is, first I'll start off with this Botanics cleansing solution, All Bright. I feel like I have pretty dull skin, so I like to use this first. And then I'll go in with the cleansing toner, All Bright, after that. And I feel like it just brightens my skin whilst cleansing it. Because of the fact that I feel like I have really dull skin. And then afterwards, depending on the day, if I'm doing my makeup in the morning, what I'll go in with is a facial moisturizing lotion. This one has SPF 30 in it. It's AM. It's by CeraVe. I really hope I'm pronouncing that right. And this is also, I love this brand because this brand helps out with eczema, and I do have eczema in certain parts of my face. So if I am going out in the afternoon time, I'll like to use a different moisturizer, one that doesn't necessarily have to have SPF in it. You want the SPF in the morning time, that way if you're out in the sun, it'll prevent any sort of skin damage to your face. So I like to use just a different variety of moisturizers. You don't have to use any one in particular. I personally have really dry skin, so I like to use one that's a little bit more oily. I'll use this one by Benefit called Total Moisture, and I'll also use the Glam Glow Thirsty Mud Hydrating Treatment. So yeah, so after I do the cleansing and I moisturize, I'll obviously start off with primer. So for me, I use the Almay Smart Shade Perfect and Correct Primer. I use this one because I have a lot of redness on my face and it has the green in it. If you have redness, you want to use green, and then so on and so forth. So I'm just going to go ahead and go in with this real fast. So you'll want to use something like this if you have a lot of redness on the majority of your face. If you just have spots of redness like blemishes, or like how I have redness on the sides of my nose, you can spot correct. You don't necessarily have to use a face primer with the green in it. If you don't have redness and your skin is clear, all that good stuff, then you can just go in with a regular primer. Whenever I don't have as much redness, I'll just go in with the Lock-It Featherweight Primer by Kat Von D, and I'll be good to go. So since I do have a little bit more redness than usual today, I'm gonna go in with my NYX Color Correcting Concealer, and I'm going to go in with that green color, and I'm going to spot correct on my face. So something that I'm going to use for foundation today is the L'Oreal True Match Lumi Cushion. Now this one is good for if you have dry skin, like I stated earlier. I do have very dry skin, so I'm going to go ahead and put this on. And I'm going to be putting this on with a damp beauty sponge. You want to dampen it because if you don't, the sponge is going to be too hard and it's not going to put on your foundation correctly. This beauty sponge that I do have is by Real Techniques. You can buy it at your Ulta or Walgreens or just your local drugstore. I swear, the garbage man just decides to come whenever he wants to. Sometimes he'll come at 6, sometimes he'll come in while I'm filming a video. So I personally haven't found a good brow pencil in the drugstore. I know that there's probably a million out there. If you go on Pinterest and you just look up dupes for high-end makeup, you'll be able to find all sorts of stuff. And like I said, trial and error. Just find what you like. It could be drugstore, it could be high-end. So personally, I'm gonna go in with my Precisely My Brow Pencil. Wow, that was weird. My Precisely My Brow Pencil by Benefit. This one has a very precise tip at the end. It makes it easier to actually mimic the hair on your eyebrows. That way it doesn't look like you've drawn it on with a Sharpie. So what I'll do first is I will just comb through my brows and I'll brush them up in the direction of my brow, in the natural direction. And then afterwards, I'll just go ahead and go in with the pencil. So I will start off in the very front with light strokes. And then start off on the bottom of my brow. Let me go ahead and zoom you in for this. So like I said, I'm gonna start off on the bottom. I'm gonna start off on the bottom of my brow, and I'm just gonna follow the natural line. And as I get towards the end, I'm just gonna very lightly draw out so I can draw the arch. That way it's not one just solid block on the end of my brow. And then afterwards, I'm going to just draw, I'm gonna start on the top and I'm just gonna draw the arch very gently. You don't want to do, you don't want to be heavy-handed for this. You want to be very light-handed. That way you can make the arch perfect. And then whenever I get towards the center of the brow, I'm just going to draw very light hairs, like such. And then after I'm all done with that, I'm just gonna go ahead and take the brush again and just brush through my brow so there's no harsh lines. So after I finish that, I tend to go extreme with my brows. By all means, you can just do the first step, or you can do one of the following that I do. What I do is I like to go in with my pencil, and then I'll go in with a powder. I have the Anastasia Duo Powder in dark brown. And then afterwards, I like to go in with the brow gel. Mine is just a espresso brow gel. Now, if you're just starting off, by all means, you definitely do not have to do all 3 steps. In my opinion, what I would do is I would just go for the tinted brow gel. That way you can start off light, because once you start drawing your brows for the first time, it's gonna be like, holy hell, like my brows are thick. So I would just start off either with a powder or with a brow gel. And if you're too scared to go full in with a tinted brow gel, you could always do a clear brow gel. And I also don't know of any dupes out there for these, because this is the Anastasia, so yeah. It's a little pricey, but these are my holy grail. So once I've done that, I'll go ahead and just go in with a wet Q-tip and I'll clean up all my mistakes, and then afterwards I'll go in with the same foundation that I used and a little concealer brush, and I'll clean them up, which I'll show you in just one second. Okay, so like I said before, I'm just gonna take the foundation that I used. Some people use concealer. I like to use foundation because to me, whenever you use a concealer, you can tell that the concealer is there because it's lighter than your foundation. So I'm gonna go in with my foundation and I'm just gonna dip this brush in, and I'm going to clean up any messes that I made. We have finished our brows. Now I'm going to go ahead and go in with eyeshadow. So for me personally, I like to go in with a concealer for primer. Some primers work for some people, but to me, I feel like concealer works. I have it anyway, so I don't have to buy a primer. Like I said, I'm not a professional. This works for me. It may work for you. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go in with my Kat Von D Lock-It Concealer, and I'm going to put that all over my eyeball. so once I've done that, I'm gonna go ahead and go in with an eyeshadow that is similar to my skin tone and put that all over my eye so it makes it easier to blend shadows. And I'm just going in with the Morphe 350 matte palette first. I'm gonna do something just very basic, something that anybody can do. That way you guys can just practice with eyeshadow. So I'm just gonna be taking the very lightest shade right here and I'm going to put that all over my eye. Okay, so once I've done that, I'm gonna go in with a nice transition color. I'm gonna go ahead and go in with this shade right here and I'm just gonna take very little. And then afterwards, I'm gonna tap off the excess. That way it's not too heavy on my eye. So what I went in with my transition color is just a MAC 217 brush. So once I've done that, I'm gonna go ahead and go in with that Wet n Wild brush and I'm just gonna blend out the edges. Like so. That way there's no harsh lines. I absolutely love the Wet n Wild brushes because they're so soft and they work so well and they're cheap. I think this was like $1.99. Go get you some, girl. Okay, since I don't want to go too dark because since this is supposed to be a basics tutorial, I'm just gonna go ahead and go in with a darker shade than the transition shade, and I'm gonna go ahead and go in with this color right here. And like I said, you wanna take your brush and then you wanna tap off that excess. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna take the brush and go in on the very outer corner and ever so lightly just tap away. Okay, so once I've added that color, I'm gonna go ahead and go in with just a flat brush like such. This one is by It Cosmetics and it is just a precision shadow brush. So I'm gonna go in with this color. Focus on me. I'm gonna go in with this color right here and I'm going to take that on the outer third of my eye, like so. And doing this will kind of just clean up the transition color and also that darker color that we put on the outer corner of our eye. So next I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go in with eyeliner. Now I know this is something that a lot of people are scared of, but I promise you that eyeliner gets easy. Mainly eyeliner is just, like I've stated 10,000 times before, a lot of trial and error. It takes a lot of practice. I've been doing eyeliner for as long as I can remember. That's the reason why it just comes naturally to me now. There's a lot of different methods that you guys can take. The one that I'm gonna show you today is the concealer method, so let's get right into it. So you can use any sort of eyeliner that you want. You can use a gel liner, you can use a pencil liner if you would want to. Personally for me, I like to use the Kat Von D tattoo liner in Trooper. This is my holy grail. This is how I get my wings perfect. If you don't mind spending $20 for this bad boy, I highly, highly recommend getting this. So what I like to do is I like to start off drawing the wing first and then I'll go into the inner corner of my eye. All right, so I'm just gonna draw the wing. I like to touch my face a lot. It's probably not the best thing after putting on your foundation, but it's extremely hard for me to not touch my face. So what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna follow the lower lash line and draw up from there. This will help create the perfect wing. So I'm just gonna follow my lash line and draw just a little baby wing. Now I'm not gonna do this perfectly because I do wanna show you the concealer method. That way you guys can see how easy it is to make the perfect wing that way. So after I do that, I'm just gonna start off on the edge of that wing and I'm just gonna pull it in. So after I've done that, I'm gonna go ahead and fill in the rest of the inner corner. And my other eye real fast, and then I'll show you the concealer trick. Okay, so I've got my wings on. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a little bit of concealer and I'm gonna put it on the back of my hand. And I'm gonna take my little concealer brush again and I'm gonna dip it into that. You don't wanna dip too much in because then you don't want it to be too cakey next to your wing. But let me just scoot into you just a little bit more. So you're gonna take your brush and you're going to clean up the wing just by wiping the brush on the edge of the wing. And when you do so, a little bit of concealer will take the wing, the excess eyeliner from your eye, and it will drag it out to make that sharp wing. So once you do that, you're just going to want to blend that in so it's not too obvious. And go ahead and clean up the outer portion of it. And voila! There you go. You have a clean wing. I'm slowly but surely moving closer and closer to you guys. I'm getting all up in your personal space. So after I've done my eyeliner, I'm gonna go ahead and go in with my concealer and my highlighting. So I'm gonna take my same concealer again and I'm just gonna go ahead and dot that underneath my eyes. I'm sure you guys have seen this a million times before. I'm gonna use the triangular shape, so you can just watch. I don't like to put too much. I know this probably looks like a lot. It's really not. I don't like to put too much on because I have a lot of wrinkles underneath my eyes and it tends to get a little cakey underneath there. If you don't have wrinkles, you're lucky. So after I've done my eyes, I'm just gonna go ahead and go in on the sides of my nose, up the bridge of my nose, on my forehead, on my chin, and right underneath where I would contour. And now I'm gonna blend it in. Okay, so after I've concealed, I'm gonna go ahead and go in with a translucent powder. Right now, I'm just gonna use my Laura Mercier translucent powder. This is probably the best. So I like to just let that sit while I do my eyeshadow. And what I'm gonna do with my eyeshadow is I'm gonna go ahead and go in with a flat, this one's called a flat eyeliner brush. This is by Eco Tools. You can get this at Walgreens, Ulta, Walmart even. And I'm just gonna go in with that darker shade that I used, this one right here, and I'm gonna dip that in. And I'm just gonna do the outer third of my eye. You don't wanna go too far in because that will close your eyes off and that'll make them look smaller than they really are. So I like to do it in that order. That way if I have any sort of fallout underneath my eyes, I can just go ahead and wipe it away. So I'm gonna go ahead and wipe away the translucent powder. So with the translucent powder, you're gonna wanna put that in the areas where you would highlight and then go ahead and go in with your contouring afterwards. So I'm not gonna go in with lashes today because I know that lashes can be pretty intimidating for people who are just starting off. If you want to start off with lashes, I do recommend starting off with the individual lashes. That way you can go ahead and put as many as you want, as little as you want. That way it's not too heavy all at once. If you don't want to go in with lashes, what I highly recommend is to get a base mascara, one that enhances your eyelashes. I know Unique is kind of famous for their fiber lashes and a few other brands. This is just actually one that I got as a sample, and it is Lancome, and it is, like I said, a base mascara. It'll help your eyelashes look longer and it'll help you not feel like you have bushes on your eyelashes. So I'm gonna go ahead and go in with this first on the top and bottom lashes. So for my top lashes, I'm gonna go ahead and go in with the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. Now, I know that there's a lot of good drugstore brands out there. I don't have any drugstore brands that I use as far as mascara. because I actually want to try one. I forget what it's called. I'll have to look it up. So I'm going to use this one on my top lashes because this one is very heavy and it gives you some good volume on the top ones. And now for the bottom ones, I'm going to go in with my Roller Lash by Benefit. This one is a little less heavy, that way I don't make a mess on my lower lash line. So now that I've done my lashes, I'm gonna go ahead and go in with contouring. For me, I'm gonna go ahead and use my trusty Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. This one to me is worth the buy. A lot of these products, you pay a good amount for it, but they do wind up lasting a good while. So to me, I feel like it's worth the price. Like I said, you don't have to, especially if you're starting off, you don't have to buy stuff that's super expensive. NYX is a great overall brand to buy. It's not necessarily at the drugstore, it is at Ulta. So I'm gonna go ahead and go in with this sculpting brush by Real Techniques. It looks like this. This one is used for contouring, and I'm gonna go ahead and go in with this middle shade right here. I'm gonna dip that in. And what you wanna do is you want to start off, you pretty much want to follow your natural bone line. Now, if you press in to your cheeks, you'll be able to feel that bone. And what you want to do is you want to follow underneath that bone. And this will help your face look slimmer, it'll help your cheekbones look more defined. So I'm going to take the same color and I like to go ahead and go in on my temples, like such. Doing so will, like I said, make your face look slimmer and it'll bring depth to your face. And I'll also go ahead and go in underneath my jawline. So after I've contoured, I like to go in with a little bit of bronzer. I am a little bit more on the pasty side, so I'm just gonna go ahead and take this NYX bronzer in medium. And I'm not gonna go too heavy because if you go too heavy, you're gonna wind up looking like an Oompa Loompa or an orange, and you don't wanna do that. So I'm gonna take this Wet n Wild brush. It's like a pretty big fluffy brush. And I'm just gonna dip ever so lightly into that. And I'm just gonna take it a little bit on the temples of my forehead. And I'm gonna take a little bit above that contour, a little bit onto my cheek. Okay, so once I've done all of that, I'm gonna go ahead and go in with my blush. I like to not go in too heavy with the brush because of the fact that I still kind of have a little bit of red cheeks after my foundation and stuff. So I'm just gonna take my split pans, the Becca split pans with Jaclyn Hill, and this one is Flower Child and Champagne Pop. This is totally worth the buy. I've had this for a while now and it has lasted forever. I'm like barely even making a dent in it. And the highlight is crispy. So for highlight, I'm gonna go ahead and go in with the Champagne Pop, and I'm just going to dip it in a little bit like that. And you're gonna wanna do this on the highest points of your cheeks. So I'm just gonna take a little bit and bring it up just a tad bit. You don't have to put on too much highlighter. I like to douse myself in highlighter. That's just the way it is. So I'm just gonna put some on the highest point of my cheeks. And then after I do so, I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit on my nose. And then also my Cupid's bow. Alright, so after I've highlighted, the last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and set my face with the NYX Dewy Finish Setting Spray. Today I'm going to be using my Jeffree Star lipstick in Gemini. Matte lipsticks are super dry and they will make you feel like you just walked through the Mojave Desert. I've found that with pretty much all matte lipsticks. The only ones that don't really make me feel that way are the Kat Von D liquid lipsticks. But other than that, all of them pretty much tend to have a little bit more of a drier feeling. That's the purpose of them. So they're drying, they're matte, they don't give off a glossy finish. If you don't like that, I highly recommend going in with a satin lip or just a regular lipstick. So lipstick tends to get just a little bit tricky. If you do mess up, you can go in with a concealer brush. You can take either your foundation or a concealer and just clean it up, or take a Q-tip and then just kind of go in with your foundation afterwards. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put this bad boy on. So yeah, this is the finished look. I wanted to do something pretty neutral for you guys because I know that starting off pretty heavy all at once, which this may seem pretty heavy still to a few different people, but I wanted to just do neutral mattes, nothing too shimmery, nothing too crazy. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to subscribe, please like it. Let me know what you guys want to see next, and I'll see you next time. Deuces.